said in the post, I am reintroducing the safety deck, simply to try and get around some confusions and some frustrations that might happen in various games. So I'm doing it in both Star Wars and in Spelljammer. Do all of you see the safety deck in the bottom right of your screens?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So in using that, to make sure everybody is fully aware of how to use it
Yeah.
easily, you hover over it and then you will click the choose option, and then you drag whatever card you want onto the mat and let it go, and it'll drop onto the mat where everybody can see it. All right. And then once whatever it is resolved, the person that dragged it onto the mat should be able to right click and delete it. And how I am going to be personally running with the safety deck, so that everybody knows what to expect. If there is a moment where you are very uncomfortable, we either have already crossed a line somehow or very close to crossing a line, and you don't see how the situation can be salvaged, or you have no interest in seeing how the situation might be salvaged, you'll drag on the stop. If you drag on the stop, whatever is going on immediately stops. Whatever scene is going on immediately stops. I will ask probably about 3 questions, and it is up to you if anything else needs to be said. Depending on the context, I will ask if there is something in the conversation, something in the scene, or something in the descriptor that you are uncomfortable with and want to skip. You do not have to give specifics if you do not want to, but simply so if I know it's a conversation that needed to be stopped, you can tell me it's the conversation. Nobody will ask any additional questions unless you tell me that you want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next question I will ask is, do you just want to skip this, or do you want to address it? If you want to address it, I will ask if you want to do it publicly with everybody, or if you want to do it privately. If you want to do it privately, I will mute the stream, so whatever you have said is not going to be recorded. I will move you into a separate call, and we will discuss whatever it is and come back. And when we come back, whatever I say from that conversation is what goes for everybody. Nobody needs to ask any further questions of the person I was talking to. The
Mm-hmm.
slowdown is a pause. Still, we will stop whatever the scene is, and that is something you can use if you are concerned about where something is going. If you want to express some sentiment about how a conversation is progressing, about how certain words are being used, um, if you're confused about the interaction of okay, I think there might have been a miscommunication and it needs to be cleared up, you drag that pause on, and that's the one that is going to be more of a group discussion. Again, I will ask you what specifically is causing you to bring that card to the table, and we will, as a group, discuss whatever it is, and we will not continue with the session or the scene until whatever needs to be discussed has been discussed and the person that brings the card to the table feels like it has been addressed. This is, again, so that we all feel comfortable. We have the opportunities, because I think there's been many times with various characters where there has been some sort of miscommunication. One person sees a scene in one way, another person sees a scene another way, and then it causes issues later because it's one person's like, why the hell did this scene play out the way it did? I was joking. And somebody took it really seriously. Or a scene has gotten a little too far because somebody didn't like particular words that were being used, even if the sentiment of the scene was okay. There may even be times where I will ask how everybody is doing if I feel like we are entering into a storyline or a scene or a descriptor that might be a little over the top, a little close to some lines that people have. Uh, People might be feeling uncomfortable, and I get the vibe that they're feeling uncomfortable. And that'll be the opportunity when I ask that. Either verbally you can say, I'm good, or you can drag the card on. But if I ask that, if I say, okay, pause, is everybody good here? I will expect you to either verbally say that or drag the card onto the table. Simply so that everybody has a way of easily interjecting if something's going on. And I really encourage all of you, everybody that's a player, to do that. And hell, there may even be a time where there's RP that's going on, me as the DM feels uncomfortable, and I might drag the card on the table.
Okay.
Any questions or concerns or additions any of you would like to make? All right.
Yeah, not at this moment. I am totally amenable to all of those things.
Amy, Iris, you good?
Yee.
Iris, you're muted.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. And again, I'm using this in Spelljammer. Hopefully, either Joe or I will find something very, very similar for Foundry. I'll be shocked if there is not one for Foundry for Star Wars and for Weird. But with all of that being said, moving on to Spelljammer proper. Who wants to give a very brief recap of where we are and what is going on?
Fuck those vampires.
Oh, they're fucking gone.
Fucking gone.
Yeah, boy.
Also, the fucking Spelljammer was annoying as fuck, especially for Trixie.
See, I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, I can't help but laugh because she was like 3 feet from finding the Spelljammer immediately, and she decided not to check the rooms on the first level first. She decided to go down.
Full disclosure, to make you feel better, Iris, I also would have gone straight down. I was like, yeah, fuck it. And they gotta be at the bottom. Furthest possible place from where we are.
And I'm just here like, dude, if you clear the first floor first, if at least.
But yes, you all were chased down the last breath, which is Grimzard Garganhal's ship, which got snatched from under him in a mutiny. And he gave the stamp to go ahead and kill everybody. Yes?
Amy, I have a request.
What's up?
If you think I'm doing something stupid, tell me.
I'm pretty sure. I was like, are you sure?
It's not enough. We need
And
notes.
also,
we need notes.
And also, you gotta remember, Button had like a 3 in initiative. I was across the fucking house doing shit at the time.
Button, you are you. You could have said, hey, maybe you should check the floor.
I was away from my computer at the time. I was probably doing dishes. I'll be honest.
Well, you know what? Then
excuses.
You by virtue
you know what? Get good. All right.
Of doing dishes.
We are a
the
crew,
first floor
okay?
check.
And I was over on the bench. Okay.
And I was on the bench.
We are a crew, and we need to work
I
together.
was on the bench.
I was over on the bench. Okay.
still be part of the tactical meetings.
I was over on the fucking bench across the house. Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, I needed to point that out before I forget.
Also, have you forgotten? I may be loud and memey, but I also have severe social anxiety. All right.
I thought you were loud and Amy.
No,
Okay. Okay. Moving on.
I was over on the bench, man.
You all did successfully manage to get all of the vampirates, including the Spelljammer and the ghost of the ship. And
Fuck that
in
ghost.
her running around, Trixie did discover a single elf that was being held in the brig on the bottommost level. She tried to get Button to take care of them, but Button said, "Fuck that, I'm not the healer," and went back upstairs.
They're not the healer.
And Micken, who was at the point where he had no spell slots left, is like, well, fuck it, I'm not a healer either, but there's not any fighting down here. And stayed instead. So, you guys have successfully killed all of the vampirates. The combat has ended. The final vampirate was killed on the Lady Luck as he tried to go after Liliana. And all of you are kind of making your way back over to the last breath across the line that was thrown, though I imagine that now that there is nobody actively shooting at all of you, Crux is trying to help set up a gangplank between the two ships to make it a little easier to traverse. And as all of you are calming down, you don't hear words, but you do hear a little, well, actually, perception checks.
Perception.
Perception.
Fuck is my sheet?
Not
Trixie
normal.
dice to the rescue.
Oh yeah. Wait, I have dice.
I want to get dice. Fuck, I keep forgetting to get button dice every fucking session.
Yep.
I'm like, let me get button dice.
You can roll
That was a really
physical dice if you would like.
bad perception check, but you know what? That's okay. There's that's an 8. That's an 8.
That, if I can turn the light on, is a 19 plus my modifier.
I'm gonna start waiting until you actually give me the final result, Iris, because you do this all the time.
I am opening D&D Beyond now.
What did Booker get?
An 8.
And that is an 8 on the active perception. Passive perception, real good. Active, that's an 8. That's an 8.
He's catching his breath.
So slow.
He's looking
Yeah.
for his knives.
He can teleport them back to himself.
He's examining them and cleaning them.
Yeah, there's vampire.
Which pocket he put him in.
Yeah.
And it's that undead blood,
Okay.
so it's not like fresh blood. It's like gross.
It's sticky.
Yeah.
It's like coagulated.
Beyond just being slow.
Right. So you said your initial roll is a 19 for the modifier?
Correct.
So Trixie and Button, as Button, who I think was halfway across the rope when the fight ended.
Yep.
and turned around to crawl their way back to last breath. As Button kind of thunks down onto the main deck again. Trixie and Button, the two of you don't hear any words. You hear the distinct squeak of Micken a few floors below. Not a distressed squeak, as you have gotten actually pretty good at differentiating the various types of disturbed Micken noises. But it is more one of surprise.
All right. Well, as soon as Button lands, thunk. Hears that with no hesitation. All right, time to go downstairs. Must collect the Micken. And Button is setting their zombie friend that they have for the next hour to start cleaning up all of this shit that collapsed.
The zombie will
Go
start
find
picking up.
Micken. Make sure he's okay.
The zombie will start picking up the ship. So, Booker, you are kind of examining. Oh, there goes the iris.
She'll do that.
So, you are kind of examining your knives, making sure that they stood up to this fight. It's the first time you've been able to really just fucking go wild with these specific knives, and you're kind of examining them, and you see out of the corner of your eye Trixie quickly disappear down the stairways again, and Button making a beeline towards the stairwell.
Booker will cautiously raise an eyebrow at no one, just kind of thinking to himself, and he'll stealthily follow after. Just in case he's not supposed to be following, he will tiptoe.
Trixie would be the first down, I imagine. Or is Trixie running, or is Trixie jogging or walking? She has just run all over this ship.
Yeah, if haste is still up,
Well,
still
haste is
dash
down.
after.
So you also have that
Yeah,
two 20 seconds of real
oh
tired.
god. Yeah, my bones, my muscles, they all
My
ache.
bones.
You are actually moving slow enough that you are keeping pace with the Button rather than going ahead.
she'll jog, but she's tired.
Hear the distant tap 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 of the tiny footsteps catching up to you.
It's like, when has that ever happened? When has one actually caught up to Trixie without Trixie stopping and waiting? So you all are
Note to self: keep off the caffeine.
Trixie and Button, and then a moment later, Booker, you all end up downstairs on the bottommost level, and you see Micken standing at the doorway to the brig. One more down, Button.
I know, I'm scrolling.
And he has the kind of barred doors of the brig partially open. He's standing in the middle, but you can see one hand on the door frame, one hand on the door, kind of half step back. Like he opened, reacted to something, and took a step back, but didn't back off completely. And inside, you see a tall, lean, very pale elf sitting up on one of the beds in the brig. And she has just golden ringlets of hair that are carefully tied and braided and kind of piled on top of her head. And as she is looking at Micken, you can see the coal black eyes of an astral elf. And her garments are just this extremely lush, extremely expensive looking set of robes and a dress that are all in a deep kind of maroon color with gold. Not just gold colored thread in rope and accents. You're almost 100% certain actual gold. And there seems to be a kind of locked in staring contest between her, who looks very calm, very composed, just kind of carefully blank faced, and Micken, who you can't see what his expression is, but you can tell just by his posture slightly uncomfortable.
Oh, so you got her up. Nice.
Where is?
Uh,
I want
yeah,
to
you
use
do know that
spell
it
sight.
is. Just 1 second, because Amy shared something.
Yes.
Amy, you do know that that is real gold on the high collar that she is wearing and the jewels that she has on. And I'm not going to give you a freaking value on it because I don't know, but it's a lot.
Expensive?
Expensive.
Expensive. Fucking damn.
Joe.
I would like to use one of my uses of spell sight, which is a single action use of detect magic. If I assuming that Booker can see this person.
Yes, you would be able to see her. You'd
Uh,
probably have to like step over just a little bit further this way, because this is the mast that goes all the way down to the bottom.
where's
Oh,
the spell sight feature at on this fucking character sheet?
let me see here. Where is there? It is.
Where is it? Where'd it go?
So you said detect magic. Let me see her shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, looking at her, Booker. I have her sheet somewhere. There it is. You see that she has 3 distinct items of some sort that seem to have magic on them. You see that there is a scabbard that she has tied to her waist. She does not currently have a sword in it, but it looks like a scabbard for a scimitar.
Hmm.
That has just the faintest traces of magic. You have been around magic and kind of studied enough magic that you would know that that's probably a sheath for some sort of like kind of basic magic sword.
Mm-hmm.
Not anything super impressive aside from the fact that it is a very nice sheath. Um, you see kind of glowing in the center of her chest, you assume some sort of amulet uh, under her dress, kind of hidden by her dress and her high collar, which I can actually This is her.
It's a lot of collar.
Goddamn.
But you see kind of hidden away under her clothes because you can't see the actual amulet yourself, but you see the glow radiating of this magic, of what you think is a conjuration magic of some sort. And lastly, you see a glow of magic emanating from her finger. And you realize she is wearing what looks to be a diamond ring of some sort on the middle finger of her right hand. And double check this. It is distinctly glowing with evocation magic.
Oh boy.
Okay, so
So go
what was
ahead.
the? Sorry, I got the. I had to step away for a second. There was a conjuration on an amulet, and then the evocation on the diamond ring. Was there something else? I think I missed something.
Yes, she has a what looks to be a scabbard for a scimitar tied to her waist. She does not currently have the scimitar in it. You can kind of assume if she's in the brig that her weapon was taken from her. And it's just Booker gathered it's kind of just a scabbard for kind of a basic ass like magic sword.
Okay.
But it's a very nice, pretty scabbard. That's the only like really defining feature of it.
Okay.
And as all of you come down, and Trixie kind of slows down and makes that comment about, oh, you woke her up. You see Micken kind of flinch to the side of like, okay, there's somebody behind me now. And not so much like he recognizes Trixie's voice. So it's not complete fear, it's more of just unexpected noise. And as he does so, he kind of starts to swing the door closed more in front of him, and the elf just very slowly stands up, kind of smoothing her dress as she stands up in this one very elegant motion, and lifts her chin. And as she stands, you realize she stands well taller than both Booker and Button, and even slightly taller than Trixie. I would
What?
appreciate if you did not close that door. And Micken freezes again.
Trixie will back him up. Like, literally stand behind him.
And she just kind of looks you over head to toe, very that same kind of placid, carefully controlled blankness.
And is there a reason we should listen to you?
She tilts her head. Well, I imagine, at the very least, to start off with some sort of amenable relationship. You aren't my captors. None of you have fangs.
Booker will
We
tiptoe
might
up.
not be your captors. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's it. Just Booker is tiptoeing up, so you have charge of the conversation.
Yeah, we may not be your captors, but we are kind of helping them out right now.
And there's just a slight narrowing of her eyes. judging by the silence on the ship, I was assuming you killed them.
Most of them, not the captain though. Mind okay. Mind explaining how you ended up in here? More on the quick side, because don't know when the captain's gonna get onto his ship.
And as you said, the captain was still alive. You see just the slightest little curl of the lip downwards on one side, and her eyes narrow, and you realize now that you are this close to her, there is something a little off-putting, something different from the astral elves that you have come across before. Though her eyes are solid black, the iris and the sclera both that kind of void. You realize there's just the faintest pinprick of gold right in the center of each eye, like a distant pupil almost. And she takes a fluid, almost floating step closer, not threatening, but just a little imposing by her height and her posture and carriage. And her hands kind of fold in front of her, a very kind of prim and proper manner. If the captain's alive, I would like to speak with him. It's the least he could do for snatching me from my ship.
I mean, I don't see why not.
Will you take me to him?
Booker will speak up.
Okay.
He'll press forward at that, and he'll like put a hand on Trixie's shoulder and poke over her head, and he'll be like, "Sure, but can we ask who's calling first?"
And there is a moment of another pause as she saw both Button and Booker behind Trixie and Micken. But as you interject into the conversation, the weight of her gaze shifts to you as she kind of studies you. And you can see the calculating look. And she kind of lifts her chin just a little bit. Princess Jadali of the Zarshian Empire.
Oh. Booker's eyebrows go up. No wonder he had you locked up down here. Sorry,
Makes sense
did I say
now.
that out loud?
Unfortunately, he, and assumingly you from that reaction, have the wrong one locked up. That's why I will speak with him.
Sure. We'll get you to him. Never you mind.
Or we could just get him.
Half a dozen in one, 6 in the other. Booker will look at Micken. I assume Micken's like still fixated on her.
Yeah, he's just a little bit more relaxed now that he knows like everybody else is behind him, but he is still kind of stuck with that one hand on the door, one hand on the door frame, halfway closed. Like doesn't quite know what he's supposed to be doing in the moment.
Booker will reach over and put a hand on his shoulder. Hey, wizard. Go get the vampire captain, if you don't mind.
And he looks over his shoulder at you. There is this like very distinct moment of like, oh thank God. And he ducks under your arm, slips between you and Trixie, and not run, but like very much high stepping it across the deck so that he no longer has to be in that position.
Excited to be fucking gone.
Yes.
You think you'd have a spell for that or something?
Get the fuck out of
tilts his
Dodge.
head. Yeah, and he just shrugs like, huh. Yeah, you figured, right? Whatever. Wizards, man. Don't get them.
And as the door is kind of left open by Micken, Jidali doesn't try to move, like, exit, but does get a little bit closer within arm's reach of the door. And
Trixie will lean in the doorway, casually, arms crossed, legs out against the other frame of the door.
and as she is now very close to you, Trixie, it's not very often that you have come across people that are larger than you, taller than you, that aren't of very distinct races like Crux being a GIF.
Hmm.
But this elf stands at damn near 7 feet tall.
Damn.
And she kind of looks down at you for a moment. And there is just a slight tilt of the head. And roll me a perception real fast.
Okay. Not yet. Evil. What's my modifier? 21?
As you kind of meet her gaze, you can tell that she has been trained to not really react, to not really show her thoughts and her emotions. But you can swear that as you watch her and kind of meet her eyes, those golden pinpricks almost seem to get just a little larger and almost seem to flicker like flame. Well,
Here,
if none of you are going to do me the decency of letting me out of this excuse for a brig, the least you can do is tell me who I am talking to.
Booker looks at Trixie.
Oh, well, Trixie was gonna look at Booker like, you're the captain.
Yeah, he shrugs.
Hmm.
And he'll hold out a hand, and he's not gonna move any closer. He just holds out a hand in like a sort of pseudo like shaking, like offering a handshake, but clearly not intending to shake her hand because he's too far and not willing to walk any further closer. He'll do that and be like, Sarpen Booker, captain of a different ship, but a captain nonetheless.
Trixie. She gives a 2-figure salute. And by the way, it's nothing against you or anything. I just don't really want to piss off the what's his name again?
Grimzard Garganhall.
No, that was Trixie.
Oh.
Like whispering to Booker. Like what's his name again?
Booker closes his eyes and inhales, and then exhales and just goes, Grimzod.
All right.
Does the pacing button do anything?
Tug at someone's pant leg. You guys are fucking blocking with your fucking legs.
Trixie will lift one leg, ballerina style, so you can get through.
Step forward. Very rope like, very stiff singular wave. Hello. I am Button.
And Stolly kind of looks each of you over as you introduce yourself, and Booker, right as you start to move your hand back and drop it back down, there is no movement from her, but the very faint, misty outline of a magic hand takes your hand and shakes it. And
raises an eyebrow at it, but he will shake the magic hand back.
it immediately disappears as the handshake is done and over with. A different ship, you say? So not this near derelict.
Yep.
Booker snorts and just goes, not this woody shamble.
And
Classic.
there is this a little spark of what you could almost call amusement at Booker and Trixie's words. And just a very small shake of the head. Classic would be generous.
Technically speaking, this ship model is not a classic.
Booker pinches his brow.
And what
Not what she
exactly
meant.
would you consider it a classic then?
Oh.
The technical definition of classic is a ship design dating back at least can I just bullshit like what, 20 years? That's for
Yes.
cars, right? 25?
Yes.
Okay. It's like at least 25 years. This ship does not follow that guideline. However, it does need repairs. It has sustained approximately 67% of its hull damage and 43% of its indoor cabin damage. So it is in very, very, very poor condition.
Her eyes don't leave Button the entire time Button is speaking. And then there's a small nod. A useful thing, aren't you?
Yes.
And right about that time, you hear 2 sets of feet on the stairwell behind as Micken returns with where the fuck is there he is with Grimzod, and Grimzod is leading the way Micken just a few feet behind. He's moving fairly briskly, not running. And comes up behind. And you just hear a little huff of a breath from him. You don't know if it's a scoff or a laugh. Well, I see that you met the special guest.
Yeah, could have, well, would have been happy to know that you were harboring such a high profile associate of the Empire.
Told you the key to dealing with all of this mess was on my ship.
Also, enlighten me. How's she gonna help us? Aside from being a walking target on our back.
Zadali kind of, you see her eyes, who were on Grimzod when he came in, and kind of paused. Her gaze shifts towards Booker again. And you can feel the weight kind of on the back of your head as you had turned to speak to the other captain.
Mm-hmm.
I am assuming from your tone that you wish to stop my empire from doing something. Judging by all of your appearances, you all hail from realm space, don't you?
That would be true. Unfortunately, I couldn't change into anything, or I couldn't find anything that I thought that I wanted to change into in all of the wild space places I visited. The fashion sense is a bit lacking out here, in my opinion. He says that last part with like a very obvious tone of sarcasm.
And she just kind of nods once. So you are wanting to stop the harvesting then? Only myself and my brother are able to stop the harvest.
Booker moves his jaw in his mouth a little bit. Also, Button and Trixie, feel free to chime in at any point in time.
I will take that into consideration. However, Button is not a character that should be talking in important moments. Like,
We have should and we have would.
I mean, okay, but fucking you asked for this.
Is that a Button is going to say something, or is that a Button will say something in the future?
Future permission.
Future permission.
Okay.
Future permission. Okay. Booker, like, flexes his jaw a little bit and says, I would like to stop the harvesting, if for no other reason than to save my own skin from being harvested.
And personally, I'd like a place to go back home to. Thank you very much.
Booker nods his head in agreement.
And as you all are speaking, she slowly takes another couple of steps forward towards the open doorway. My brother is the one that is behind this particular harvest. We were not meant to do any more. But I am more than willing to explain what has happened. If you will kindly move out of the way. And she kind of gives Booker what feels like a little bit of a harder stare.
So, I don't know if this is something I would be able to assess, but is this like a show of power? Is this like a show of like, if you don't move, I will move you, or is this a show of authority?
Feels a little bit more like authority.
Mm-hmm.
This is a woman who is, number one, does not want to be in that particular room. And number two is not used to being told no. She has done nothing particularly threatening in the entire time that you all have been talking to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I I want to know. I want to ask the consensus of the group, because Booker could go either way on this. Does he dig his heels in and like put a show of authority back at her and say like no, basically affirm like no, you're not coming out of the room, or does he make a little bit of a extend a bit of an olive branch to her to let her walk out to try and gain her good graces to figure out more about what's going on, because I'm truly caught in the middle.
This is my take here, or at least what I had Trixie do. She moved when Grimzod came in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's his ship, and if she tries something, it's his problem to deal with it. We're just kind of guests here. We're I wouldn't say we're bystanders, but like we don't have to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's I know it's not the best example, but it's like a parent disciplining their kid in their own home, you know. So she's kind of just deferring to Grimzod because this is his ship.
Okay. So this would be like, that would be more of a vote of like, see how Grimzod plays it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Grimslad has come down, has like stopped a little ways away, not so much in like I don't want to be involved, but more of like, this is semi-acceptable speaking distance.
Like we just dealt with the ship for him. So
Yeah, and he did not react poorly or strongly to seeing the door open.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just kind of standing there, like one hand on his hip, lefty is moved back up to his shoulder.
Okay. Button thoughts.
Button has no qualms about letting her out because she asked.
She has been relatively polite this entire time.
Yeah, like Button is just like, oh, okay. More like, do I need to move? Am I in the way, or is it just Booker? That's where Button's mind went. Button has no issue with letting her out because she's been very polite and she does not seem to be in physical threat.
This is
And
true.
if we are nice, she offered information, which is like crack to Button.
Okay.
Button's already taking out the fucking parchment out of the fucking scroll roll, whipping out a typewriter.
You know what? You know what? I think that makes. I think I've Booker in this case, and after consensus, um, she makes that kind of eye, that stink eye at Booker to be like, "Let me by." And Booker, he will regard her in a very passive, like, I'm not unimpressed, but in like a very level look, just like an, all right, I see you, you're important, I get it. And he's gonna take half a step back and get out of her way enough that she is able to walk out. And he's going to look at Grimzod and keep a firm watch on him, because he's like, this is your ship, dude. This is your ship, your prisoner. How do you gonna fucking handle this? It ain't my job to wrangle your prisoner.
As soon as you step aside, Jadali slowly walks out and kind of walks towards the center of this gathering. And there is just the slightest release of a breath as she exits. And you're pretty sure Booker and Trixie and Button would be close enough, that's about as close to a sigh of relief that you probably could expect from this woman. And she kind of nods, and you see her straightening out her dress and her robes one more time, just kind of absently, something to do with her hands. And she levels a stare at Grimzod that none of you can quite see her face from where she ended up standing as she's looking at him. And Grimzod, still with that metal and leather mask over the lower part of his face, meets her eye, and you can see just a twitch in the corner of one of his eyes. So there's, again, this kind of like you encountered when you came down initially, the stare off between her and Micken. There is another silent battle of wills, almost. And she is the first to speak. And she very calmly and quietly, I don't know if I should thank you for taking me from that ship, or berate you for putting me in what you would call a brig. In Grimzod just kind of gives a little shrug. Well, it was the brig, or let you wander around with all of my crew who, well, let's just say peckish might be an understatement after that fight it took to get you. And she kind of glances around. You can see her taking in this section of the ship, kind of observing it. And this lowermost portion of the ship, this bottom level, is just as run down and beat up as the rest of the ship, but it is probably the most whole and complete level of the ship. There is no holes in the floor leading down to the very bottom. There's a few holes in the sides of the ship, but they're up just high enough that you think that if the ship was in water, that the water would not immediately flood in. And there's fewer sections here that seem to be replaced with newer wood. So you imagine that there's not really been much repair needed down here. However, it is still dank and dark and filled with kind of half broken, half full crates and barrels and cobwebs in the corners. And after she kind of like looks around, you see her scanning the room side to side. Her eyes fall on Grimzod again. And what exactly was your plan when I woke up? And he kind of shifts just a little uncomfortably, almost like he's been caught in something he wasn't expected. Well, I was hoping to have a friend that was gonna help figure that out. And she kind of, you see her turn and kind of take the half step back and around to look back at the rest of the crew. And a single brow has been arched. She looks over Button, Booker, and Trixie. And from the way you've said that, these are not those friends. And he shakes his head. Not the one I was thinking of, but, well, they're gonna be close enough. Are either of you going to interject? Her attention has swung back around.
Well, I was given permission to do some fuck shit. And Joe is gone. And Iris is still muted. So let's see how much I can do.
I did not realize Joe was gone.
I was gonna say, Button will fucking take, like, I don't know, the second that, like, Booker doesn't speak, I'm just like, it's been 1 second too long. Oh, I can speak. I can do that. I forgot. Raise a hand straight up in the air. It's like, who is the other friend? As if asking a question in, like, a class.
You see Grimzod
Good question.
kind of, again, a little uncomfortable shift as you ask that question, and Janali turns and looks at him again, so now he is being stared at by everybody rather than her. And he just, you see there's just a long enough pause. You see Lefty like lift a finger and tap him on the shoulder a few times as if fucking speak, dude. And Grimzod just kind of lets out the little grumble. Well, I was gonna ask what Tupla thought we should be doing.
We left the tower. She's not here.
Well, no shit.
Are we turning around?
And he just kind of moves his, like, both of his arms up in that kind of, like, I don't fucking know open gesture. And then just sighs. I don't. Well, I have to re-fucking crew my ship now, so probably not. One witch ain't gonna be enough to fly this thing by ourselves. If she even left the rock.
You act like we don't have any mages that could help here.
And he looks towards you, Trixie. Yeah, you can help with the spell jamming, but you need a crew of at least 6 or 7 to fly this ship alone, not even talking about your ship.
We could tow for the time being. What? We've towed a nautiloid. I'm pretty sure a little ladybug isn't going to be that difficult to deal with.
And Shadali kind of looks towards you, Trixie, as you say that you've towed a nautiloid. You can see there's curiosity. And as you continue speaking, she, without a word, just starts walking. Making her way towards the stairwell. And you hear just the faint, like, I... And then you just see Micken, like, very slowly creep his way around the mast. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to be going somewhere. I don't know if you're supposed to be supervised. Kind of trailing behind her, looking back towards the rest of you, like, I don't... Are you coming? Am I going? Am I alone with
But
this?
Trixie will go past Grimsaw and be like, guess we have to deal with your prisoner, too.
You just hear some sort of muttering behind the mask, but it's muffled just enough that you can't make it out.
Just realizing Trixie is kind of spicy today.
Y'all,
Is it the Trixie that's spicy, or is it the Iris that's spicy? Or ¿Por qué no los dos?
But again, it must us. I have a lot of energy right now. I think is what
Hey,
it is.
gotcha. Okay.
move everybody up because it's just
But I
easier to do that.
apologize for the spice.
We're leaving Booker in this corner. Oh, never mind. He followed.
Jolly just makes her way up the stairs, all the way up to the topmost deck, where she, as soon as she is out, she kind of closes her eyes and takes a few steps, like with her eyes closed and head tilted up. And you all are in the astral sea now, just surrounded by the swirling mists in just a vast, essentially nothingness as far as you can see. You're not sure where, if it's fog that is blocking your vision and not letting you see very far past the ship, or if you're actually being able to see extremely far away and there's just nothing to give your eyes a landmark to lock onto, to even guess a distance. And as she kind of takes the couple steps across the deck, eyes closed, kind of hands opened up to either side, not wide, but just barely wider than she is, and kind of hands, like palms upward. There is the smallest shift of energy that you can feel. Not quite magic, but something close. It seems to shift and swirl around her for just a moment. And she lets out another small breath and opens her eyes. And those pinpricks of gold seem to be just a little bigger and just a little brighter as she looks at everybody. and doesn't say anything since everybody was bickering amongst themselves. Just observes.
It's been a while below deck. Feel good to breathe the fresh air.
She kind of. There is a little quirk to the corner of her mouth. Smallest kind of hint of a smile. That is, frankly, an understatement.
Booker will do like a stage whisper, or not a stage whisper. That's when you whisper loudly. The fuck am I talking about? So I'll just try to whisper to Grimzod that, like, we'll have to probably renegotiate our deal if you're making us do this too.
And Grimzod kind of looks towards you, and those red eyes of his narrow, and he tilts his head. And not responding in a whisper, responding at a normal speaking level. He just says, "Oh, if you want to renegotiate, we can. Though I imagine it's going to lead you to owing me a little bit more."
Hmm. Is he bluffing?
You can roll an insight.
Try. I'm gonna give it a good old college try. My insight's not super high. That is a 14.
You can't quite tell if he is bluffing or not, but he does seem to be relatively confident in his words.
Hmm. Booker narrows his eyes a little bit. And he won't nod and agree to renegotiating just yet. He'll just kind of shrug off the moment and let the tension die a little bit and be like, all right, we'll come back to this. Sort of. Just like put a pin in this idea or conversation or whatever. And he'll look over to I've just blanked on her name.
Shidali?
Jadali, yes. He'll look over to Jadali and he'll take a gamble on this and comment. So, if you don't mind, I am powerfully curious. How did you come to be imprisoned on this ship in the first place?
And that faint amusement and relaxation that you saw in her kind of posture and in her expression immediately turns sour at the question. And she goes from having her palms kind of relaxed at the side of her, at either side, and again folds her hands in front of her and kind of locks her fingers together. I suppose I did promise you a story, didn't I? Well, I'm nothing if not somebody that keeps my word. And she kind of seems to be, you see her kind of pause and her mouth close, and you're pretty sure you can kind of see the wheels turning in her head, not so much trying to figure out what to say, but how to say it. I, as I have already told you, am the princess of the Zarshian Empire. I share, by birthright, claim to the throne with my twin, Jelith, which I will put here.
While you're doing that, how the fuck do you spell Zarshian again?
This is the way that I can think of right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Just lots of X's everywhere. That's how you spell everything to deal with this fucking empire.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Um, Only a short time ago, my father, the Emperor, fell ill. He is, if I am going to be completely honest, on his deathbed. My brother took the opportunity to seize control of the throne. First, he took the navy, then the throne, and then the court. And in doing so, banished me. He had me imprisoned on my own ship under the control of his followers. He planned on sending me to one of your worlds, the core of realm space, so that I would die along with all of you. And you see just kind of a sneer curling her lips as she says this. And she realizes that her expression is no longer under control, and she kind of lifts a hand to cover her mouth and her nose. It's kind of holding it in front, blocking your view, and turns and kind of looks away for a moment, seemingly composing herself, before her hand lowers again, folds in front of her. If you are already here, I am assuming that means that the harvester seeds from Zarshus have already made land.
Booker tilts his head back and forth, kind of like a as if he's measuring something in his head, and he just goes, more or less.
And she nods. Zarshus is the star of our empire, the source of our magic. and it has been dying for a millennia. She kind of turns and is looking back at all of you again. Long ago, some of the wisest and strongest of our people found a way to break pieces from the star, send them out. Once the seeds have sprouted and the vines have grown, they begin to drain the energy from whatever planet they may have landed on. And once there is nothing more to drain, they concentrate the energy towards the nearest star and make that star feed Zarshus, replenishing it for a time. Shelith thought it would be poetic if my energy were to be a part of the next feeding.
How do you feel about that poetry?
And there is just her lips kind of press into this thin line. And her eyes narrow. I would like nothing more than to feed my brother into that poetry. Though, I suppose, if all of you wish to stop this, I would settle on helping you stop it in exchange for his life. A blade can be just as poetic.
Trixie will kind of mumble under her breath, a little bit too loudly. These two aren't earning Siblings of the Year awards.
Hmm.
Her eyes kind of drift towards Trixie. And there isn't much of a reaction in her expression. But she just kind of stares for a moment. Doesn't say anything.
So, let me tell you. If there's one thing I know about family, it's that a lot of them have it coming. So my question is, why, if at all, do you feel compelled to let this harvest go on?
No, I'm gonna take a step back and pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to make sure that what she just said was understood correctly. That she would like to throw him into the harvest, but she essentially was implying at the very least that she will stop this harvest if you help her kill him.
Oh. Okay. All right. Rewind. So Booker, he'll still say, if there's one thing I know about family, it's that a lot of them have it coming. And he'll cross his arms, And he'll nod. And the look on his face, the expression on his face, is not like difficult to read, but it's very, very plain, like understanding. Like he has come to a realization. He's like, oh, okay, I can ally myself with this person, and he's seemingly totally fine with that. And he will look over to the crew and say, "How do a lot of you feel? Fancy a little bit of sibling rivalry?"
Strictly kind of raises an eyebrow at Booker, like at his comment of some of them deserve it. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, there's something going on there.
The side eye of like, the fuck?
Yeah, like, so what was
Mm-hmm.
calling it sibling rivalry is kind of fucked up.
Booker shrugs. He doesn't seem bothered by it.
I have a question.
Those pinprick eyes turn towards Button.
Big ass fucking LEDs stare back from under the hat. How long do we have until realm space is gone?
I'm gonna be real, I haven't read that far out.
Ah, shit. Okay. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me think.
Shit.
Let me
Vague-
think of another question.
Vague answer.
Wait.
Vague. However long this campaign takes. Got it.
It's a good month or two, at the very
Okay.
least.
Don't worry. I can substitute that with a different question. I just thought of. You can stop the harvest. Is there a way to reverse the damage done?
If the harvest is stopped before the energy starts to be channeled towards your star, the energy will return to the source. Those that may have died because of it will not come back, unfortunately. But your planets will survive.
So, above table, are the planets completely taken at this point?
Last time that you saw, looking in when you were at Topla's Tower, out of like the 8 or 9 planets of realm space, about 3 or 4 of them were clearly infested by the vines. So not all of them have been infested yet, and the realm space won't be destroyed until all of them have been infested and have been fully like taken over and absorbed.
Okay.
Essentially, it looked like the kind of the handful that were the center of the solar system, or in the middle section of the solar system, including your planet, had been hit first. One or two of them looked like they had been taken over a lot more. Your homeworld was getting overrun, but you assume because of just the sheer number of people that would be fighting back against it, in trying to destroy the vines in whatever way possible, it was not as infested as some of the others. So there's enough of a pushback to slow down the takeover of Faerun.
Thank you for clarification.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or
Well,
not Faerun, Toril. Sorry.
only Faerun, not the planet. No, but Button will give a nod at the information.
Jidali's eyes kind of drift towards Trixie, because Trixie is the one that seems to be the most disquieted at all of this information. And her head tilts just ever so slightly. Do you have concerns about helping me?
I want to fix my home planet. So if working with you is what needs to be done, it needs to be done. I just don't particularly like the terminology sibling rivalry. Kind of gross, in my opinion.
I wouldn't call it sibling rivalry necessarily. I would call it, well, let's just say preventative measures.
Call it whatever you like. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever gets us what we need. I'm amenable to your goal. If you'll help us stop the harvest, we'll get you a brother.
Mm. She nods. And I'm assuming that whatever deal you struck with Captain Grimzod involved getting more ships, since unfortunately the Navy did take out most of his armada. And you can hear just that kind of quiet grumbling from Grimzod. And then he gives a little nod. Well, getting more ships for me, and so gathering some more ships from other places. And you see, again, the kind of gears turning behind Jadali's eyes. Well, that's good. We'll need them to get into the fortress. And she slowly turns her head and she's observing the Lady Luck now. You can see her eyes kind of drift from one end to the other, taking it in. And that is your ship. And she looks towards Booker.
He nods. That would be her, aye.
Small and unassuming. That might actually work in your favor. Who would expect the ladybug to take over the moth after all?
Booker smiles at the idea of like being told that his ship is a good fit for this. There's like an undue sense of pride.
His ship.
Mm-hmm.
Trixie has a look in her eyes as if she's going to say that, but she holds it.
She
Don't gotta out him like that.
slowly starts to pick her way across the kind of shattered boards of the top deck to get closer to the Lady Luck and observe a little bit more clearly. And she places her hands very lightly, like almost just the fingertips brushing along the top of the railing of the last breath. And she tilts her head, and it is a much larger tilt, a much more animated reaction than you've seen her thus far. And she kind of nods to herself. Perhaps with enough help, enough distraction, this might be doable. And she looks back, like kind of half-step turns to look at everyone again. And who is the Spelljammer?
There are 3. We take turns.
There's kind of a little awkward nod from Micken, who's doesn't necessarily want his attention in his way, but she did look towards him as you say you take turns, because he is very clearly the wizard.
Tap, 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 tap. Pat, pat, pat. We are 2 of 3.
Is she fast?
The data on that depends on who is the Spelljammer at the moment.
She's fast enough.
Button doesn't want to call Micken out, but I have a feeling that Micken drives slow as fuck.
Actually,
Really?
Micken's,
Oh, does he steer?
Micken's a pretty damn good spelljammer.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't saying he's bad at it. I was just more so like his anxiety. I was like, I don't know if he's the type to like speed, you know?
He would not speed through like fucking asteroid belts. He probably is the slowest going through like obstacles.
Okay.
But he keeps the fucking Lady Luck going pretty fast when there is nothing to make him pause.
Gotcha. I stand corrected.
Even his anxiety-ridden ass understands that it's fun to go fast.
A.
I now choose to believe that there is a speed demon trapped in Micken's body that he is only occasionally like brave enough to let out.
I imagine Micken would actually be pretty impressive if you put him in a single cruise ship. Something like a mosquito or a dragonfly that's only meant to be crewed by 1 or 2 people.
Yo. All right, that's on the docket. We got to do that at some point then.
Next up.
Hell yeah, get a mosquito.
He's a wizard. He has spell slots to burn to make you go fast.
Hell yeah,
And if
mosquito or like a damselfly, right?
if they go fast, they don't get hit.
Yeah.
And as Booker's like, it's fast enough. She kind of turns fully towards all of you again. I can direct all of you and whoever is helping to the fortress when the time comes. But we must make sure that we have landed on the fortress. It will orbit Zarshus up until the ritual is completed or sufficiently interrupted. And if I know my brother, and I know the generals, once either of those circumstances happen, they'll be quick to hide the fortress back into the depths of the astral sea. If we're not on the fortress, I doubt anybody will ever be able to find it in time.
Can't let that happen. So they're not getting away.
She nods. So, and she looks back towards Button, and then towards Micken. I hope that data about whom is the fastest will be updated so that all of you are sufficient for the task.
Button pulls out a piece of paper and that nearly endless quill. And they start writing a schedule down. Micken can very clearly see that Button is now fucking practice speed trials, like making a schedule for the 3 spell jamming peoples and the average times that they all have on like moving a certain distance.
Oh, for the love of...
Her eyes turn to look at Booker.
He doesn't say anything. He just pinches his brow and he's just like, nope, go on, do your thing.
Turns back, continues scribbling down the schedule. There's a whole table now.
Vague threatening energy from Button.
Yep.
And as this interaction happens, Shadali has turned to look at the ladybug again, then turns back. I would like to request a room on that ship.
Booker raises his eyebrow. He means the ladybug, right?
Yes.
Or she means the ladybug.
Yes.
You're more than welcome. But you'll have to abide by my law of the land then. On this ship, It's his word, and he gestures to Grimzod. On my ship, it's my word.
And what word would that be?
Nothing unreasonable. You can have a room. I promise I'll leave the door unlocked even.
There's just this kind of expectant stare. Like, okay, a room unlocked. What's the but and or that's following?
He just shrugs and in this kind of welcoming gesture of like more of like a broad sweeping statement of like if I say something about it, that becomes the law. Whereas like here, Grimzod is judge, jury, and executioner. Over there, Booker is judge, jury, and executioner. It's a little bit of like an authoritative power play. Excuse me. But he wasn't like trying to lay out an explicit rule.
When there is no follow-up to what he said, she just kind of... There's a very hard... Fucking if you're gonna say something, say something.
Booker trying to appear all like big and tough of like, yeah, it's my lay of the law. There's two crew members that are there are just like, no one fucking since when?
Imagine Trixie will talk to Button, will whisper to Button like while rolling her eyes like, yeah, it's not even his ship.
Button will reach up and just like pat and like make like a shushing gesture of like a single finger in front of the mouth. As soon as like the hand goes under the hat towards the face, you can't even see it anymore. But the gesture is there.
I know.
I believe this is one of the things that make certain people feel better about themselves. I think we should let Booker have this. Pat.
Yeah, we can't let her think she can get away with anything, though. So I'll give him that.
Pat. That would be for the best.
Can you imagine how big of an ego we had if it was his ship, though?
I would not be on the ship if that were the case. Pat.
That makes the two of us.
Pats continue. For just slightly too long.
Booker, give me an insight.
That's my best insight yet. 17.
There's a little twitch to her expression that first it's hard to place, and then you realize, oh, that's probably amusement. Or something very close to it. As she realizes that there is no follow-up to it's my rules. And she just kind of lifts a hand, and just this kind of placating gesture. It's always the captain's decision. Though I am certain that you will be more than hospitable.
He will smile and nod. I like to think I'm a fair leader. Fair captain.
And
At least the beds will be more comfy.
she kind of, there's a little bit more amusement. It's a little bit easier to see as there's just a very, very, very small smile. An unfortunate side effect of a ship where no one needs to sleep, I imagine.
Hmm.
I
And
mean, half,
Grimzod just
half the
like
people here.
Grimzod just like throws up his hands at this. You guys are gonna keep shit talking my ship. Get off it. I am here and I do still have ears, thank you.
Booker snorts, and he's like, "Come aboard, all aboard. Who's coming aboard, at least? You're welcome to visit sometime." And he'll look. He says to Grimzod,
You fucking twitch as Grimzod turns and starts what is going to be the very long process of repairing his ship up to at least acceptable standards for him.
You know, we could have cast mending on the ship, but I guess he doesn't want us here. Oh, Button.
Button was in the middle of walking towards Grimzod when you said that. Like, they were mid-step, and they just freeze. As her head swivels to look at Trixie. Oh. Are we not assisting?
I mean, he just said for us to get off.
But there are repairs that need to be made.
That's not our problem, buddy.
But there are repairs that need to be made.
Does Button look distressed? As distressed as a Button can look.
A little. Not more like a what the fuck do you mean? Leave this mess that we kind of caused when I can repair it?
It almost sounds like flight malfunctioning. How
It
you were
kind of
saying
is.
it.
It's like you're kind of breaking the program a little bit. You're asking the bot to do something it wasn't designed to do, and you're like,
Come on,
what do you
Button.
mean?
Come on, Button. We have some other things to fix. Trixie will pick up Button.
Button kind of goes like limp a little bit before like wiggling side to side. Trixie, there are repairs right here. We do not need to leave. We need to stay here. Trixie. The repairs are there. They are there.
Micken is just kind of like standing like middle of the deck, like you see him like kind of like fingers like tapping against each other from like both hands, like Trixie, I think put them down.
Trixie,
Put them down
don't
before you
break the
break them.
bosun. If you break the bosun, you're gonna have to get me a new bosun.
Trixie. They are there. The repairs are there. We have walked past them. You must turn 90 degrees to the right and then walk forward. Trixie, you must stop walking.
Has Trixie seen Button malfunction like this?
Probably like once. I imagine that like when something that goes like just against Button's like programming, something that we're meant to do, it's very difficult for them to get off of that task. It's kind of like imagine like a hyper focus on like, I need to do this. This
Yeah.
needs to be done.
I can't stop thinking.
Yeah, like I can't
About
stop
this.
thinking about it. And like
Oh god.
Button isn't like squirming, but they are like moving enough to like gesture to where they want to go. Of like, Trixie, it's right there. It's right there.
Okay. So right there. That's it. That's all that needs to be fixed. Got it. Trixie will cast mending on that one spot.
Button is gonna look up into Trixie's eyes. It's like head just slowly turns up to look straight at her.
Dead.
I
He's
think
gritting.
there has been a misunderstanding.
No, I think you were pretty clear, Button.
Trixie, don't.
Don't break my
Don't.
bosun.
He just looks at Micken with like, oh, you're no fun.
We don't know how to fix them if they break.
I do not break. I do not malfunction. However, there is a task that I must complete. I have an objective that is over there, over there, over there. Trixie.
But our ship also
And
needs repairs.
Micken just like gestures both hands towards like Button of like, see, you're breaking them.
But what about our ship, Button? We
Our
went through
ship
that
is in
asteroid field.
perfect condition.
I don't know if it's in perfect condition. Are you certain?
Yes.
I don't know. I think another check would be good.
Just fucking wiggle. Button is gonna try to escape at this point.
Okay. Trixie will drop Button.
But
Okay,
just
show me where you want to
lands.
go. I'll give you a hand.
Okay. We must go this way. Button will beeline it to where their little zombie friend has started clearing rubble. Tap, 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 tap. The metal against the wood.
Slow but long strides towards Button.
Booker will do the thing where he points two fingers at his eyes and then points two fingers at you, Trixie, and he's not like dead serious when he does this, but it's very much the stubborn reminder of like, don't you break the bosun. We only got one of those.
And Trixie will do the Cora thing back at him. Mockingly.
I don't know how I did not expect that.
I don't know how you didn't. You really just lined her up for that, man.
True.
Like perfectly.
I was sitting here waiting like, come on. I knew you were gonna do it too.
Meanwhile, Jadali has already started her way across the gangplank towards the Lady Luck. She is inviting herself over to the other ship.
Happy to have you aboard.
So, this is a good place to pause. If any of you guys need to run and get water, go to the bathroom, anything like that, you can. If not, we can start the discussion for what's next. We good?
I will get water.
I
need to get a drink.
am so fucking hungry. I'm going to get a snack.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Yep.
wait, I have a headset so I can take you with me.
I need to download all of my pause screens again.
Goes me.
And I can go back to this map.
So happy to have PS5 again though.
Yeah, now you can do Star Wars game.
And I can play my Cyberpunk save.
Also
And
true, yeah.
yeah, and I can play Smite, and I have all my skins again. And I can play Warframe, which I'm super hyped for as well.
Hmm.
And I can play some of the single player games that I was playing.
Like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars?
And Valkyrie Elysium. And Diofield Chronicle.
What is Dios Mio Chronicle?
It's a real-time tactics game. It's not Final Fantasy, but Square Enix, or it's made by Square Enix, so it has a lot of like the similar classes and whatnot. But it would be like Fire Emblem, but instead of turn-based, it's more real-time, or it's like half real-time, half like you can kind of pause and slow time a little bit. But yeah, I got like halfway through the game before the other one broke. So
I suppose I should share some pictures. See some people. Well, I'm thinking about it. Where are you?
So,
Huh.
I have not really eaten. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Sailor! Sailor!
oh,
Hold on.
oh, he's angry.
Sailor.
Sailor sounds extremely angry.
So, what I was trying to say before someone dare exist outside of the window, how dare they, without his express permission, exist?
Gall.
Yeah, the absolute gall. I was gonna say that, like, okay, we had transcript of conversation, like 90% of it. Okay, it's Amy's snack time now. Notes are going to be not as detailed.
Well,
Fair.
it's a good time for that
Yep.
because essentially what we have moved into, unless we'll say this, unless I guess Booker at this point, because Trixie is on button duty, um,
Yep.
has any specific conversation or question or discussion that he wants to have with Jidali or Grimzot or frankly any of the NPCs. If not, we are going to kind of take a step back and move into kind of more nebulous time.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So, uh, at Jidali makes her way onto the ship, and you find her room that she deems acceptable. She settles in. There's also just a little commotion and tenseness from Crux when he finds out who she is. But it's not too hard to kind of sway him at the moment because he's already fucking, in his mind, already having to deal with the fucking pirate. So, what's a fucking princess on top of it? But you all have set out into the astral sea, following the orrery, which, as you kind of place it in the ship and get it set up, a very thin white thread almost seems to stretch out from it, from its place in the Spelljammer room, so that when whoever is sitting in the Spelljammer helm is sitting there, they can kind of follow it along as they are guiding the ship. Um, it appears even in that weird, distant sensation that you have of being one with the ship, you feel the string that you can kind of tug on and pull yourself along. And stretches far out into the astral sea. And as you begin to sail, I will say first off, you guys can spend as much time as you want mending the last breath. It will take a long time to fix it, even with mending. And Grimzod seems to go through phases of furiously working on it and doing nothing else, and either inviting all of you over to his ship or inviting himself to the Lady Luck for gambling, primarily.
Yeah.
He seems to be particularly excited to play dice with anybody and everybody that is willing. However, he insists that there be gold put on every game. He refuses to play. He refuses to play anything without there being something to win. So in traveling the astral sea, you guys will be in the astral sea for a little while, depending on what you guys end up doing and coming across. Will change that length of time. If there are any conversations that any of you would like to have with each other, with any of the NPCs, you can. If there's something that you all know that you would want to work on, or practice, or learn, here's an opportunity. I will say that uh, nothing of particular note will happen at least for the first week, so that you guys can get 7 days on anything that you would like to work on.
Cool, pog.
So I will need you all to skim over your shit really fast and let me know what you are wanting to do, or if you're wanting to talk to anybody in particular.
Gotta remember what I was doing.
I'd like to continue working on the cloak, please.
That's another 7 days.
Whoop.
So, question: is it 7 days pass uneventfully, and we get to talk to someone and have a scene, or is
Yes,
it 7
yes.
days? Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Then I'm
It's
gonna mark off.
there's 7 days that you can just kind of spend however, and like you will have more than enough time if you want to talk to somebody, or if you want to even have text RP that you don't do in session right now. You can do. The NPCs will all be available for text RP if you're really wanting to have that with one of them in particular. Just another stretch of time for you to mark down on shit.
Gotcha.
Cool.
I'm
Okay.
going to be working on the Mind Flayer Tentacle Sword. New dagger. New dagger.
You're just gonna have a fucking like bandolier of like 50 daggers by the end of this.
If I don't have the ability to go through multiple rooms and multiple fights with a unique dagger every single fight, not recalling any of them, I will be disappointed. I need at least like one for every day of the week.
I respect it, honestly.
And you can also split the time between things if you would like as well. Because I know, like, Booker had some stuff that he was wanting to read and work on as well.
That's true. Shit. Man, now I gotta think.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Booker to help with deep speech.
I will say, like, just to make it easy, that whatever, like, if you are, like, if Booker is teaching Trixie, Booker can still have the 7 days to work on shit. Like,
Oh,
I'm not gonna worry about that math because that's too much.
okay, cool.
But you can only help
Then
one other person.
does does Button need any of Booker's help?
No.
Okay, then in absentia, Booker's help goes to Trixie as the highest bidder.
Eh,
But the I would want to have that ask happen in character because Booker, first off, would be like, "What do you want to learn deep speech? Hold the fucking
well,
phone."
I mean, she already asked previously because she was curious about the book.
Yeah, but now he like just the book. Is it just the book? There's not something more
I'll be
sinister at play here.
sinister. With you think I'm the sinister one with what you said earlier? Come on.
What did I say earlier?
And don't worry about it. Look, I'm just curious what's in the book. Seemed
No, all
interesting.
right, fair enough.
And there was some kind of correlation to what was in my books, so
He'll shrug and be like, "Fair enough, fair enough. I'll help you with your deep speech lesson. If you find anything interesting in your book, you have to share, though.
I
Can't be
mean,
holding out on me."
And there goes the iris again.
But
F's in chat.
Right as I was gonna start asking for some rolls. There she is. Welcome back.
hello.
and she's back.
My computer's doing fuck shit. Cool.
Weird.
So,
Um, but no, the comment was like, I mean, haven't I been already?
Hmm. Fair enough.
Which, by the way, that reminds me. She kind of rummages in her bag a bit and pulls out a very, very shiny stone, a magically shiny stone that you have seen previously.
Looks at it, raises an
You,
eyebrow.
you seemed really into this, and honestly, I don't think I could make much use of it.
What do you want in return?
Why would I want anything?
Well, everybody wants something. What, money? Or maybe a favor?
No, you just seemed really interested in it. And, you did get a fair bit of teasing about it,
Hmm.
which, sorry if I go a little too far.
Don't worry about it. And he. There looks like, for an instant, he does the body language of there's something else he kind of has on his mind that he would say, but he brushes it off. You know that thing where someone turns like they're gonna say something and they don't.
In kind of she pauses and kind of gives him a chance to speak. But when he doesn't, she doesn't like outwardly shrug, but it's kind of like that, I kind of give you a chance kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you just remind me of of my family and my brothers. I really miss them.
Hmm.
It's always a lot of fun to mess around with them.
Well, yeah, it's all in good fun. And he kind of flexes his jaw a little bit. He seems not uncomfortable, but I don't know if this is something Trixie would have the wherewithal to know, or to at least not like to at least be able to read on someone. But the the like look on his face and the body language and his kind of like slight hesitancy, but like kind of earnest desire to be like nice in this moment. It seems like someone who is, for lack of a better term, kind of emotionally constipated.
Mm.
You can see that there is a desire to like, or at least slightly. There's like, yeah, I do have fun. I like joking around with you, and it's fun. I don't mind doing that, and in fact enjoy a little bit of playful ribbing like that. But he does not know how to put those words together in that way. Like he is very much just like, how do I explain it's good without appearing weak?
Mm. I if if you're okay with it, like I
Mm-hmm.
do think Trixie might be pretty good at that. She has really high wisdom.
Yeah, this is true. I just realized like she has high wisdom and also a very big family who is a lot of there's a lot of men in her family who probably also have their emotional constipated moments.
Yeah, and like stat wise, she also is proficient in insight.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, she. Do you want to say anything, or do you want to just kind of leave it more like he's struggling?
That's he would I would leave it right there. He's very visibly like and then doesn't really say anything, but there's unsaid words that he would have. He just doesn't know how to say them.
Trixie again will kind of pause, trying to give him time, not like rushing him or trying to be impatient kind of thing. But after a bit of a stretch of silence, she'll just kind of smile a bit knowingly and pat his shoulder. Don't hurt yourself there.
I'm not gonna hurt myself. Shut up.
Just kind of laughs a bit and tosses the gem in the air, like just up for him to catch.
He'll reach. He'll. There's a bit of a panic for a second, but he will reach up and grab it. He's pretty dexterous.
So, as a reminder, and I will send the link to you in Booker's chat, you now have an Iron Stone of Reserve,
Oh,
which is very good for Booker.
Iron Stone.
Essentially, you're able to cast spells into the stone and have it on reserve. Can hold up to 3 levels of spells, and any creature can cast into it, and the user can use that spell that has been cast into it.
Whew.
So you can even have Button or Micken cast up to a 3rd level spell into that stone, and you can have that on reserve to use yourself.
That is big money.
It does use the original caster's stats for like saves and everything. So this essentially will say, you will have this time to decide how you want to use it. You don't have to figure out how to do it right now, but by next session. If you are wanting to have filled up the stone, which I'm assuming you will, because you have a couple days of not doing anything, you will need to let me know what you have put in that stone, who you have asked to put things into that stone, all that good shit.
Okay.
And
That's dope. Thank you, Trixie.
Finger
it
gun.
will require attunement. So if you're wanting to use it, it will take up one of your attunement slots.
If it's okay, DM, could Trixie have put a spell into it?
Yes, if you have something that is a leveled spell and not a cantrip, you can have put it in there.
Yeah. So it's technically a downgrade from the current spell that's in it, but it's essentially the same thing. It's the shield spell. They're the where you can have a floating shield around you, essentially.
The homebrew shield spell?
Yeah, rather than the actual shield spell that's on it currently.
Yeah, if you can find the exact name for Joe so that he knows that is in there
Yeah.
currently.
Give me 1 second, I'll find it.
And it will be something I will ask Joe that you keep very careful notation of what is and is not in that stone, because that is a very powerful tool.
Yes.
It's called Shield Bearer, by the way.
Okay, so it has a casting, and is it first level or second level?
First.
So a first level shield bearer from the homebrew list is currently in it. So you have 2 extra slots in there. You do have to expel the slots, from what I understand of this. You do have to actually use the spells to reopen the slots. So now currently there is 2 levels worth of free space.
Okay. So I need to note this on my front.
Oh, it's like a spell flash drive.
Kind of.
Yep.
Cool.
And I was also, during that conversation, because again, all this homebrew shit, I'm tweaking as I go. I am willing to say, actually, I'm going to pause before I forget to do this. So, if you're working on language, Trixie, and you are getting the help from Booker, you have a lot of dice that you have to roll
Oh,
now.
okay.
If you're working on that every single day a little bit, that is 7 die, and you roll each of those at advantage with Booker's help.
I'm just gonna.
You might want roll 20 for that one.
Yeah.
So, it is, you can choose your intelligence or your wisdom mod. Which I'm assuming wisdom. And you will take the higher of the 2 for each of the 7 days. So I want you to roll each one separately, each day separately. But you can roll wisdom at advantage 7 times for me.
Alright, so I'm just gonna do 2d20 7 times. Is that okay?
What is your wisdom mod?
4.
4. Okay. Nice. I like how that just shows the fucking perfect balance. You get a nat 20 and 1, and then your next set of rolls you have a nat 1. So, In order to say that you are proficient in a new language, you have to acquire 18 total points. And the number of points you get each time is dependent on what you roll. So, like, that first one is going to be 23, so you get 3 points from the first one. Might want to get your phone calculator real fast.
I don't have phone calculator, but I have computer calculator. So how many points for the first one?
3 the first day.
Mhm.
Then 2 the second day. Your third day is another 3. Fourth day, 1, 2, 4, is another 3. 3 on the fifth day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll one more time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, no. Don't roll one more time. I missed one. 3. And 3 on the
So-
6th and 7th day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
So
6 times 3 plus
not
2.
20?
I already had 2 in deep speech as well.
Okay,
So it's over.
Yep, you are now proficient in deep speech.
Hey. Thank you, Booker. Now give me your book.
Booker or Joe, you are muted if you're saying anything.
Whoops, I did. So when you finally got there, I did say, "Hey, look at that!" And then you asked for the book, and Booker's immediate response was like, "No, it's mine. I want it. That wasn't part of the deal."
So, before we get into that bickering, as I was trying to say before, again, this homebrew shit I am tweaking as I go.
Mm-hmm.
In part, how I was originally laying it out with the days for everything was in anticipation of there being a larger crew. Thus, there was going to be more shit going on for everybody. But since we have shrunk significantly, I will adjust a little bit and say that you can do work on you can work on 2 distinct things at any given time. You can't double up, so you can't be like with like Button working on the cloak. You can't say that you did 14 days on the cloak.
Gotcha.
But if there is a second thing that you would like to work on or do, even if it's just like Booker wanted to do fishing a little bit, and just say, he did 3 days where he fished for a while, you can do that. So you have essentially, you'll spend 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening, kind of thing.
Oh, I know
Doing things.
exactly what I want to do.
So you don't have to feel handcuffed to one project that you desperately want to get done and nothing else.
Oh. But we can't double up, like you said. So
No, you can't double up.
fishing. Wait, hold on. Let me look through my fucking bag here before I do any more shit like that.
Oh. I already know what I want to do.
What do you want to do?
I would like. Fuck. Sorry, I inhaled a sandwich so fucking fast.
Breathe. Breathe, woman. You are not a seagull.
No, I'm not.
Burger.
I am only human, unfortunately. But I would like to have Button track down the resident wizard because I would like Button to study up on Arcana.
Okay.
That is on brand.
Mm-hmm. What? Oh my god. You begged to get into the room and now you want to leave? Make up your fucking mind. Dogs.
exactly how much you had to learn or have for actual skills. Um,
Oh, is that not one of the things? I thought it
you
was.
can I have a
Oh,
teaching skill, but I just never wrote down how many points you have to acquire. Um,
okay.
so I'm going to put it, just saying this now, putting it in the rule. Tool skills, because there's the fine motor skills and everything. Tool skills are more than language skills. Tool skills have 25. I will put any of the basic like skills that you have on your character sheet as also being you needing 25 points in total,
Okay.
because it's a lot bigger of a breadth of thing to have to work towards than a competency in language.
Mm-hmm.
So you are working on Arcana with.
Okay, I assume Micken would be able to teach.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Mickens. Essentially his best stat's going to be Arcana, followed actually fairly closely by Investigation, which is surprising. Um,
He's a little detective.
he notices a lot of shit. He just doesn't say things because he doesn't want to be involved.
He's afraid detective. I was going to say fearless, but that is not true.
Correct. But if you are sitting down with him, you can choose each day. Yeah, you can choose your intelligence or your wisdom. I'm assuming you're going to choose wisdom.
Yep.
And just like Trixie, you'll roll at advantage because Micken is helping you 7 times in a row.
This is going to be a test real quick to see if this works. Nope, it doesn't. Does that work? Oh well. I'm just... Wait. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do... That's 3. I'll do the math later. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, 1,
Okay. And you have
2,
a plus
3,
4 in wisdom?
4, 5, 6, 7. No. She has a plus 5.
Plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that it would be accurate.
I can pull the numbers down if you want me to, real quick.
Yes, if you want to just give me the straight numbers so I can give you the points.
Yeah, I got you.
I am sorry, but I'm math slow. I do math, but I'm math slow.
Is this 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
7.
I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 5. That's going to be 15, 15, 20, 24, 20, 15, 25.
So that's a 2, a 2, a 3, a 3, a 3. No points for the 10. A 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Okay. What were those numbers?
2, 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, 3, 3.
2 plus, hold on, 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3
Plus 4.
plus 4. 17?
Okay. So you have 17 out of 25 points needed for that proficiency.
Cool. You said 25?
Yes.
Okay.
So cloak and working towards an arcane proficiency with Micken. That's how
Yes.
Button spent a week.
Yes.
Booker
I imagine Button accidentally jump scared him
like,
when
jump scared
approaching
him,
him.
but then fucking made up for it because you just essentially set the like fucking special interest button on Micken and just let him go.
Yes. Just very much a Micken. You know magic, right? Tell me everything.
Tell me everything you learned in the Wizard Tower.
Mm-hmm. Spare no detail.
I will say, just for the flavor of it, because of his natural inclinations,
Mm-hmm.
he is able to provide much more information on evocation type magics than other types, and in particular lightning and thunder and air. He seems a little less certain about things like conjuration or illusion, and much less certain if the evocation is anything dealing with fire or earth or anything like that.
Mm.
Booker and Trixie, do either of you have any ideas on how you'd like to spend the evenings of your week?
So let me posit you a question, DM. I need to look at my stats really quick, though. Mm, I can't remember how I did this. God damn. Never mind. Booker would spend 1 week working on the day working on making the mind flare tentacle into a dagger. Um, wait, I might be wrong, because does that require having what tool proficiency do I need to make that into a thing? Do I need smithing?
What are your current tool proficiencies?
My current tool proficiencies are Tinker's Tools, Alchemist Supplies, and I removed Blood Hunter Tools because, you know.
Technically, you would need a smith's tool or um, something along those lines. I'll say because you have been working on that for a while, that will be the one like hand wave. You can have it if you spend the time on it.
Okay.
But otherwise, you'll need to start working on acquiring the tool proficiencies.
Gotcha. Then would it be fair to say that Booker has his mornings like practicing smithing to try and acquire the proficiency, and then the evenings are him working on the dagger?
If you have somebody
That
that you can
way
learn smithing from,
does anyone on the ship have it?
No, I think that was a character that's no longer here.
Oh,
Yeah.
what about the NPCs?
let me see.
I feel like would Crux?
Crocs, yeah.
I was thinking Crux.
Micken
He has
definitely
that
does not.
vibe.
Crux does have smithing, it looks like.
Oh, God bless.
So you can spend the mornings with Crux. It's a bit of a challenge to get him up and moving early in the morning. But once he is actually up and moving, you can learn smithing with him. And thus, I will need the 7 rolls from you as well.
Let's fucking go.
All right. So am I just d20s?
Get 2d, you're getting it at advantage, so 7 d20s, or total of 14 d20s. 7 pairs.
Gotcha. So we'll do
Oh, the dice roll you can put advantage in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And you can choose your intelligence or your wisdom.
It's gonna be int for me.
Okay, give me the list of numbers.
8, 9, 16, 19, 33.
Not 33.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm fucking dumb. It's advantage, not addition. I'm disregard all of those. That's just that's pants on head.
You're the better of the two with your int mod.
Yeah. So it's the advantage number plus my int.
Yes.
Okay.
So the first
So
one is
I'll give
7 plus
you.
your int.
Yeah, I will give you the final total here. So we have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, 7. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Still learning. So nothing on the first day. On the second day, you get 1 point. On the third day, you get 1 point. On the fourth day, you get 3 points. On the fifth, you get 1 point. On the sixth, you get 3 points. And nothing on the seventh day.
So can you repeat those to me one more time?
First day is none. Second day is 1 point. Third day is 1 point. Fourth day is 3 points. Fifth day is 1 point. Sixth day is 3 points. And nothing on the seventh day.
Okay, so 0, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 0.
9.
So I got, yeah.
So you have 9 out of 25 points that you need to have a proficiency in smith tools.
Dope. Getting there.
Iris, is there something else you'd like Trixie to work on?
Wasn't Booker also working on his dagger? Or was that already calculated?
Yes.
So the calculations for daggers and stuff, or like crafted materials, you can figure out the quality at the end of crafting it. So there's nothing you have to roll.
So I don't think anyone would have this proficiency. But can I bargain with you, DM?
I'm listening.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Instead of advantage, could I potentially get like a number bonus, a low number bonus, if someone has like calligraphy? Like proficiency with calligraphy, because I'd like to practice the tattoo stuff.
I said that those that tattoo kit can be a legitimate supply.
Okay.
You're trying to say if somebody has calligraphy tools that you'll transfer over is what the bargain is?
No, it's essentially like because I don't think I could get an advantage because I don't think anyone else would know how to do tattoo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, and I don't have proficiency in tattoo supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna see if someone was maybe proficient in just like art stuff in general, that I could get like a +1 or something to the roll instead of advantage.
Well, it will, number one, it will allow you to just, I will say you can use something else like calligrapher's tools to just start learning it, period. Because you are supposed to either
Okay.
have a book or a teacher. You don't currently have a book, as far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
because I don't remember giving you one.
No.
Um,
I just got the supplies.
so what is this fucking tool monkey that we currently have is Button. What does Button have?
Carpenter's tools, cartographer's tools, drum, herbalism kit, navigator's tools, and poisoner's kit.
Okay. Let's see what these people have. If you want to spend extended times with the princess.
Funny you mentioned that because I was also thinking if I didn't go with the tools to maybe learn some uh Zarstian stories.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Make new friends.
So she can use her proficiency with calligrapher's tools to help you start figuring out tattoos. I will say, simply because we are stretching it, in order to
Mm-hmm.
unlock once you have all the points, either you need to acquire the final couple of points via a book or via somebody that actually has tattoo proficiency,
Mm-hmm.
or you can essentially get all the points, but you still need to like go to a teacher and like pay them like 2 or 3 gold
Okay.
to fully unlock it. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that's fine. It's starting me on the path, and that's what's important.
Mm-hmm. So I will need just 70-20 from you.
Okay.
Damn.
And then one more.
And you have a +4.
Wisdom? Yes.
Okay. So somebody with the calculators be ready here.
Aye,
First
aye, Captain.
first day you get 3 points. Second day you get 2 points. Nothing on the third day. 1 point on the fourth day. That's 18. 3 points on the fifth day. 2 points on the sixth day, and nothing on the seventh day.
That's 11 points.
Towards the 25 you need for the tool proficiency.
Thank you.
Okay. So, you'll spend all of that time working on your various projects, learning, improving yourselves. And as a little capstone, as you're kind of relaxing on the deck after a hearty dinner one night, still surrounded by this ever-changing but seemingly unchanged sea of silver and blue and purple mists as far as the eye can see, following that thin thread of light towards Doom space, and hauling the last breath behind you, which is starting to look better. It is never going to look great, no matter how much effort you put into it, but it is starting to look a little closer to what it was before the mutiny happened. You all hear just the sharp cry of what you all at first think is a seagull until you remember you're in the astral sea. And you see a space mollymawk, which is a massive seagull-like creature with 4 eyes.
I was really confused for a second.
As it kind of circles the last breath at first around the tied up sails, around the mast, and seems to follow along the tow line until it starts to fly in and around the shell and wings of the Lady Luck. And as you all kind of watch it and it dips low over all of your heads, you see that it has something shiny hanging out of its beak.
Force pull?
Yoink! Immediately. No thought.
Listen, Button. I don't think Button was ever really trained in proper etiquette.
I love that. Like, I was waiting for, like, this to be an encounter. Nope. Immediate yoink. Mine.
I'm sorry.
You pull with your magic, and it is at first met with a little resistance as you see this bird immediately, like, almost do a 180 in the air as what it is holding is pulled, and the motion and inertia of the animal wants to continue forward as this object starts going backwards. And a noise you didn't know a space mollymawk could make comes out of it, of distress and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly, Button, you find a ring in your hand, and I need you to roll a d20 for me.
Fuck is going on up here? Hearing like weird bird noises.
Button's gone bird fishing.
I'll be honest, I thought it was like a fucking message bottle. That's why I was like, okay, yoink.
Yes, mine.
And in your hand is just this thick wooden ring that seems to at first kind of glitter and shine. You realize there's diamond dust that has been carefully placed along it and carved into the sides are pictures of what you realize are deer.
Like normal deer?
Yep.
Huh. Interesting. Button is holding this ring, and then they think, oh, they look up, back at the bird. Oh no.
Oh no.
Make sure that the bird's okay.
Roll me a fucking luck check. Just straight, another straight d20.
Oh god.
It shits on your head and flies off.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah, that's about how I thought it would go.
As you look up, there's just this nice wet plop on the brim of your hat.
Oh.
Don't take it personally. It's just nature.
Considering you stole from it, I'm surprised it didn't attack you.
Well, what'd you get? Come on, cough it up.
Button is just very upset about their hat. There's like slumped shoulders because they can't take the hat off. But they just hold the little ring in their hand. A ring.
A ring? Was it magical?
I do not know. But I did not mean to upset.
I don't know that it was 100% upset. Well, I had just been scared. You did make it completely change direction in one go.
Oh. I did not mean to make it scared. However, there is now this. Micken.
Micken will slowly take it. You see,
Can you please do the identify?
Do the thing, Micken.
you just see the sparks of magic were already kind of starting to leap from his fingers as he was reaching for it. Like, he understands the Micken do the thing tone of voice at this point. And he kind of is tilting it in his hand, kind of running it in the circle, examining it. And after a few moments, his brows kind of go up. And he looks around and he looks back down at it. I think, pretty sure this actually lets you turn into a deer. And you
What the
have
fuck good is that? It turns you into a deer?
essentially,
Nice.
this is called the Ring of the Beast.
Ooh.
It does require an attunement slot. And while wearing this ring, you can polymorph into a deer. Except that you will retain your original form's intelligence and wisdom modifiers. And you can only do this once per short rest.
For short rest, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
Nice catch, Button.
I did not catch. I pulled.
Sorry you got shit on.
Button looks down again. And there's like a little shake of the hat.
A nice little wet plop.
Shoulders sag even more.
Booker
I-
slides his boot away.
I really like this hat.
It's not like it's ruined unless you're a germaphobe, but I didn't realize it.
No.
Booker looks at Micken, he's like, Micken, it's poop.
And he looks at Booker and he looks down at Button again. And he reaches out and just like taps the hat and uses prestidigitation, and it's clean.
You see that Button like sees he casted magic like something right above their vision, and they like their slumped shoulders kind of just go back up, right? And they look up, and then they make a motion as if they're going to grab the hat and take it off to inspect it, but then they stop themselves before just reaching to where it was to feel it so that they don't have to take the hat off. And then they put their hands down and they give Megan a pat on the knee. Thank you. Thank you. This. Thank you.
It's not any problem. And just kind of like looks between like Trixie and Booker of like kind of this like confused like, why was it such a big deal?
When did Micken get there? By the way, this is not at all going to. This is a completely innocent question.
I mean, I was assuming everybody was up on the deck, kind of relaxing. So he's been up there with everybody. He probably just followed the commotion, trailed along behind Trixie and Booker. It's like, why is there all of a sudden weird noises and now we are gathering in one spot?
To see a very just palpable sadness on Button's figure.
Because Booker sees
That
him
is now
clean up.
fixed.
He sees the cleaned up poop. Like Micken cast a spell that instantly cleaned up the poop, and he's just like, "Why didn't you do that right away? You let the poor kid sit there with poop on his head for like 5 minutes."
I thought they were going to do something like that themselves. They have magic
Not
too.
everybody's a wizard, Micken.
Yeah, but all of us do have some sort of magic. You can't lie to me and tell me you don't.
No, I have magic, and he's got magic, but he doesn't have bird poop clean and magic.
How do I
That's
know?
like really specific wizard stuff.
No, it's not.
I cannot
There's
clean.
To like Trixie, you at this point, I think you have the chops with which you can call Booker on his shit. He is doing this just to be like a little bit of a shit to Micken.
Or, you could have handed them a handkerchief.
She's saying
I
that
don't
to
carry
Micken or
handkerchiefs
Booker.
with me.
The Booker.
I'm not running strapped with handkerchiefs. Do I look like a handkerchief carrying person?
Yes.
No.
I mean, with that get up.
But it is okay. The mess is cleaned thanks to Micken. And we have gained a ring.
A ring of deering.
Yes.
Well, hell, find your scapers, and he gestures to you, Button. Enjoy your deering.
Button looks at the ring in their hand. They kind of like hold it up to the light, looking at little sparkles of diamond dust. And they turn to the rest of the group, which I just realized Button has never wild shaped before. Like, ever.
Nope.
Yeah, he just does fungus stuff.
Yeah, right? But imagine Button's head tilts, and he just turned to the rest of the group. Technically, I can turn into a deer already, if I choose to.
What?
Why haven't you?
Well, I mean, why would they?
When have we needed a deer yet?
Why not? Is the true question.
Oh, I think the true question is why would someone make a ring that turns you into a deer? When do you need a deer?
Well, I mean, it might be useful to get away from a situation.
Or
Yes,
hide.
hiding is a good strategy. I have done so in the past.
Or antler wrestling.
No,
Oh,
No.
ouch. You have to be so straightforward there, Button. You wound me.
yes, but no. I did not. You were not harmed.
But my heart is hard. She dramatically puts a hand above her forehead and on her heart.
You're gonna give the poor kid a conniption.
Mm.
You
We
gotta be
Micken,
need
more
to
careful with
find
your words,
a
Button.
doctor. Oh,
well, while this has been going on, Micken has taken the ring again and kind of examining it again. And you can see the mental Rolodex, mental filing cabinets being gone through. I don't know that. Well, yeah, it is a ring that just turns you into a deer, but I think I've heard, or more like read, that it's probably one of a set of rings. I've heard of rings of the beast. There's a good handful of them that turn you into different creatures. Nothing
There
particularly fancy, but still,
have there been any cool rumors about this?
I, I guess that depends on what your definition of cool is.
Huh? Sounds like something you'd hear in a legend. Or like a crazy story. I was actually asking that out of character, but
Oh,
yeah.
uh, I mean, you've heard plenty of legends of people transforming into creatures by various means. It is not out of the question to you. You can roll a history if you'd like to see if you know of
Yeah,
any specific ring of the beast mentions.
I will give it a shot. Why did I close D&D Beyond? One moment while I reopen it. Okay, features. History. Please roll. Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like something you may have heard before, but you can't place it to any particular story. But again, magic items turning people into creatures is something you've heard tale of many times over.
Wait, as in the Rings of the Beast?
You don't know about those. Shut up. Do you?
Wow, everyone is just so mean today. No, when you get them all together, you can turn into an ultra megazord, mega huge monster as big as a planet.
Even Micken kind of looks towards you and was at first listening, and then you see like the eyes narrow and the confusion.
A small planet.
Is that you?
I I don't think that's real.
this
You'll
is
see.
further evidence. We must find a doctor for Trixie. There is a heart condition you were not aware of. There is now this.
I was just gonna say it's astral madness.
But she is happy.
Oh, come on, you know what madness is, don't you?
It is an influx of anger.
It's also another term for insanity, but
Why would you not use insanity?
Madness is more romantic sounding. Or not romantic sounding, like poetic.
Or you could just call it astral boredom.
Or ass-headedness.
So she just sticks her tongue out.
Beacon just holds the ring back out to Button.
Button will take said ring. Is it like a freaking bracelet on Button?
Yeah, this is actually in the Game Master's manual or whatever, DM's guide,
Mhm.
that magic items that are meant to be worn do change sizes according to the
Huh.
wearer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Button will put it on for now.
Okay, so if you would like
But
to actually use it, it will take up your attunement slot.
I don't even have one of those.
You have all
You
three
don't
of
wait,
them
what?
used?
I don't have anything attuned.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
okay.
Sorry. Backward statement.
And the tail end of this, I need all of you to roll me a D100 really fast.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Booker.
Hell yeah.
It's late into the evening, towards the end of this first week in the Astral Sea. Tell me how Booker is feeling at the moment, because he's been to the Astral Sea before, but not since.
There, in the quiet moments when he's been spending a lot more time below deck, which is unusual because he typically likes to be above deck during travel, because he likes to be out and like look at all of the pretty astral phenomena that are dancing around. But like I said, lately he's been staying below deck a lot more. And in the quiet moments when he thinks no one else is really paying attention, he he looks a little distraught. And I don't know if it's cold above deck in the astral sea while you're just traveling, but there'd be moments where it looks like he would shiver.
I'll say the Astral Sea, because of how it functions, is in that weird spot where it's not hot and it's not cold. It's not even comfortable. It just is. And so you are below deck late into the evening, you've had a minute to sit with your thoughts. You feel a strange pull. In fact, all of you do, from your various spots on the ship. You feel this shift and this weight in the air. And you're all not fully sure what it is, but it does feel like magic. Like entering into some place that has been soaked in ritual and in magic and surrounded by magic users so long that the very weave has sunk into the stones. But it is just in the air. But in your cabin, you can feel just that little bit of extra energy race through you, an extra spark from head to toe. And Trixie, you can feel almost similarly kind of a static electricity race through the soft down around your neck and on your arms and across your wings. And Booker, you feel that energy as well. But as it sinks into you, kind of races up and down your spine, there is almost the sensation of a hand on the very back of your neck, very gently. And then you can feel not a tug at your mind, but almost an opening. An invitation, perhaps.
Can he will himself or will his mind open to it?
If you would like to.
Yeah. Yeah.
To kind of respond to that invitation and turn your consciousness towards that opening. You feel yourself kind of sink into that heaviness and that electricity and energy. And I don't have it in Roll20, so I shall share it here. Here for a moment, your mind seems to drift. Your vision kind of blurs in front of you, and it's just uncomfortable enough that you close your eyes against it. And as you open your eyes again, you find yourself in a place that looks like this. And that's why we'll end it.
Oh. What? Do we all?